All right. Today we got Ron Edwards running for California State Assembly District 60 in Riverside County. Good morning, Ron. How are you doing on this fine day?
John, I'm doing good, my friend. It is a pleasure to be with you this morning. I appreciate everything you guys are doing for me, helping me get the message out, allowing the constituents to hear my message, hear more about my cause and my campaign.
That's great. Usually I like to start out and just kind of figure out what kind of person you are. You know what? I like to figure out, like, okay, so you're a pastor.
Yes, I'm a licensed minister. I've worked in the church since I was 22 years old. I'm 67 years old now. I've did all kind of community service, volunteerism. I worked in the church a lot in the community as a youth leader. Teaching kids, working with kids, a deacon, associate pastor, and I've even been a senior pastor. I'm a licensed minister. I'm a person like Jesus Christ. I'm willing to sacrifice and be a servant.
Yeah, that's great. I'm a Christian myself, and I'm not. I think being a Christian is trying to be as Christ-like as you can, right?
Absolutely, and that's all it is, John. We're all imperfect. There's no perfect human being, and that's the message of Christ. Is that though your sins be as scarlet, Jesus Christ will wash us white as snow, and that's a beautiful thing. We can get forgiveness, John. All of us have sins. All of us have fallen short of the glory of God. None of us measure up. And that's the wonderful message of the Word of God. When you look at the Bible, the teachings of Jesus Christ, everyone has forgiveness, and forgiveness comes with love. So the message of Jesus Christ is love. One word is love. So the Bible says God is love. He is the sum total of love. And when you love, John, you're willing to sacrifice. So because of God's love that's in my heart, I'm willing to sacrifice my time, my talent, the little bit of treasure I have. And I'm meeting so many people like yourself and others that are willing to have that same love for their fellow man. And then just serve people, be a good neighbor, be a good citizen. And that's what I'm trying to do. We need servants in our government, John. I tell people all the time, the same way you can have servant leadership in God's house, we need servant leadership in the White House. We need servant leadership in the State House, and we need servant leadership in every house in this nation.
Yeah, I think a lot of the politicians think about us more as peasants, and they run it more like a dictatorship. And we do need people. Elected officials should be servants of the people, and
Absolutely.
it's unfortunate that evil or greedy or bad people seek positions of power more than good people that are willing to sacrifice. Because if you're corrupt, you can move up in positions of power in politics and things like that. And if you're corrupt, you can benefit greatly from it. Look at how many politicians that go into Congress, with nothing, almost nothing. And then all of a sudden they have tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars. They've got they're just in such a huge position of power. I mean, all of a sudden they magically know when to pull their stock out of things or invest stock into things. And it might not be them. It might be their brother or their aunt or their son, or, and there's so much corruption. I think people are finally starting to wake up and realize that we're kind of being duped. And I would say I'm a true fiscal conservative, but I think there's a lot of corruption on the Republican side as the Democrat side. And so, okay, you've obviously been a servant of the people for your whole life. And
Yes.
So what gave you the calling to get into politics? Because that's a whole nother thing. It's for people that aren't corrupt. It's a sacrifice, and it's like a different arena, And so what made you decide that you wanted to run for an elected position?
Yeah. John, well, you came to the right conclusion, because politics is a bad word to me. It's always been a bad word to me. And if anybody looks at things with a clear mind, politics is a bad word. Now, it took 3 years for me to get to this point, John. I saw some things that were happening in our community. And one of the things that really got me off my seat, John, was that they were messing with our children. Now, God is not for people messing with children. I tell people all the time, real men don't mess with children. If you want to get parents upset, people upset, start messing with their children. We don't care who you sleep with, but we do care if you start pushing perversion on our children. Now you have a problem because you're messing with our children. So John, how I got here was a 3 year process. Like I say, I don't do politics. I hate politics, and I tell people today I'm not a politician. I have people saying I'm voting for you because you're not a politician, because you're not one of those professional politicians. That's why people voted for me, and I exceeded expectations. So it was a 3 year process, John. And one of the things the first thing that God did, John, was just what you said. He took politics out of my mouth. He said, in the Constitution, it doesn't talk about politics. You find the word government. In the Bible, you don't see the word politics, you see the word government. So what we need to get back to is governing, doing what's best for the whole of society. And so with politics, you have people that's doing things for selfish reasons. Men just base nature, we're selfish. I tell them, I say, man, we're men, we're selfish. It takes the love of God to sacrifice. And one of the prime examples you can always look to as a human being where men and women are willing to sacrifice, self-sacrifice, is when they have children. When they have children, man, they might not do anything for anybody else, but they'll do it for their kids. And that's why we need to take care of our kids, because these people are selfish and they're just ramming things down our kids' throat. We see the mental disease. That's what got me up, is when they start messing with our kids. I'm not a politician. I'm a servant. I plan on serving the people, not serving myself, not serving the quote elite political class. We want to serve the citizens of the United States. When we look at our founding fathers, that's what they did. They self-sacrificed. They sacrificed their treasure. They sacrificed their time. Look at George Washington. Sacrifice. He could have been like a dictator almost, or a leader for life. He turned it down. And one of the great sayings I learned, John, in my last election cycle, George Washington said, "It is impossible to rightly govern a nation without God and the Bible."
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And that's mighty stand up of you to step up, because I know that I haven't campaigned or ever ran for an elected position myself, but I've been around a lot of people that have gone through it. And man, when you start talking out against certain protected groups of people or whatever, it's like, if you're good, politicians don't ever answer questions. They don't ever really say what they stand for. They're really good at slipping out of direct questions, and that they're just doing whatever they can to get elected. So when you start standing up for what you believe in, and the character assassinations come in, and
absolutely,
yeah, and then I don't want to keep talking about God and stuff like that, but I feel like the devil comes after you too when you start doing these kind of things. It's like they see it as a threat in the spiritual warfare that's happening, and it's all a test though. And I think that the world is crazy, but I'm really glad to be in it right now. And for some reason, we're supposed to be going through this. I don't have it all figured out at all, but it's a blessing to be alive right now, and I'm enjoying this.
Yes. And John, one thing I want to comment on that you said, we don't want to try to make Christians out of everybody like that when you're in a position of a government. But we can't deny that this country was founded on Christian principles. We know that because when we look at the the sayings of the presidents, the founding fathers, we can see they talked about God. When we look at the prayers of the founding fathers and the men that was there during that revolution time fighting against the government, we can see that their prayers, they prayed to God. We see it all throughout the fabric of our society. We have a political class now that wants to deny our history. They want to deny our founding on Christian principles. I tell people all the time, American principles are Christian principles. Conservative principles are Christian principles. When you look at Ronald Reagan and the type of man he was, it was Christian principles. Those Christian principles are traditional principles, family principles, where the family is at the center of life in our society. They're tearing down family. They're tearing down the human being, the individual. I tell people all the time, more than a man, I'm a Christian. More than an African American, I'm a Christian. More than a Democrat, I'm a Christian. And more than a Republican, I'm a Christian.
Team God and team humanity.
And love your brother like you love. How can you say you love God, who you have not seen, but hate your brother whom you see every day? We're all brothers, man. I'm fighting that battle, John. I'm fighting racism everywhere I go. I'm fighting it on the black side.
Yeah.
I'm fighting it on the Mexican side, the white side. Everywhere I go, I talk about American patriots. Not black. I'm not a black American, a white American, a Mexican American. I'm just an American. I'm a veteran, and I'm a patriotic American.
I think all those look, divide and conquer has been the strategy. There is people that have been in control of the world. I don't know how far you want to go back, but for a really long time, evil people have always wanted to control the world, and you can look into it. I mean, you can look into things like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street owning all of S&P 500s and all the companies and corporations and a lot of the government candidates. They all take money from the same people. There is puppet masters behind the scenes, doing this stuff. And, they've done a really good job at getting us fighting over all kinds of stuff. I mean, look in COVID, it's like you wear a mask, you don't wear a mask. You get a vaccine, you don't get a vaccine. My own sister disowned me because look, my kids were born at home. I don't believe in vaccines. If you want to get a vaccine, cool. I believe in God. I believe in nature. If man made it, I don't want it. And, that's to each their own. I'm not going to judge people, but my kids are born at home. We don't use traditional Western medicine. And my sister disowns me because they wouldn't even meet up or anything because we weren't vaccinated and this and that. She still basically just says, hey, you're like, just stay out of our lives because I'm a patriot. They're leftist and woke and all that. Family is my mom is I wouldn't say she's either one, but she's definitely going to support more woke agendas because she has, they got her with the emotions and everything. But my mom she was just here yesterday and the day before that, she stayed with us for 2 days. My mom loves me. We just don't talk about politics. My mom's a great person, but they've done such a great job. I look at it like you have people who are 49er fans or Oakland fans, right? And they get in fights over they get in fights over what football team they're on. So I equate Republicans and Democrats as the same thing, or whether you're white or black or whether you're Jew or a Muslim or whatever it is. They've done a great job with propaganda pitting us all, because really it's team humanity against the people that have divided and conquered us. And it's it's very hard to break the matrix on that one.
Sure. Yeah, and the reason is because, John, we had it so good for so long in this country, man. We had people that was in government. And so we know we had a left and a right, meaning Democrat and Republican. So Democrats want to paint the street blue. Republicans want to paint the street red. But at the end of the day, John, you knew no matter Republican, Democrat, we all loved America. So we went to work and we did our thing and we just raising our kids and we're not worried about the political thing. Most people not even worried about politics like that. So we're just doing our thing. But we had it so good for so long. Now, all of a sudden, we see that the people that want to tear America down have gotten themselves in position, and now they feel like they can take us down. So it took them a while to get in position, and they all throughout the fabric of our government, we have these anarchists, we have these globalists, we have these people that hate God and want to be in total control. And so we beat socialism, communism, and Marxism in World War II. And now all of that socialism, communism, and Marxism is right here in America. And so we have an internal fight, and we're fighting with words. If we don't watch out, we'll be fighting with weapons again, because they're trying to take this country over the same way they took over Rome, from the inside out. They couldn't take us from the outside. So now they're in our schools, they're in the educational system, they're at the universities. They got people bowing down to these religious organizations, radicals that hate us, want to destroy us, and they're here now. So we have to be very careful, and because we're patriots, man. We're patriots. We love America, and so we're trying to get like-minded people together and say, hey, stop voting for these Democrats. In California, there's a super majority. So everything that's going wrong in California, people are leaving here. There's not enough U-Hauls to get people out of here fast enough. So we have to stand together and get people to wake up and see what's going on. We got to stop voting for Democrats. I tell people all the time, as a black person in a black community, when you turn 18, you register as a Democrat. You vote as a Democrat. That's just how it is in some of the, the minority communities, the black and the Mexicans. We register Democrat, we vote Democrat. But at a certain point in time, when you grow up and you start going into the world, you start getting married, you start having a job, you start having to pay for things. Say you want to start a business. Now your eyes start opening up, and you see what's going on in this matrix and how they're controlling everything, and they're keeping you down, and they're stealing the money. You mentioned how the Democrats get all this money, millionaires. Just look at AOC. Look at all of them from the top down. Look at all the ones from California, from San Francisco, Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Dianne Feinstein, all of these people, Nancy Pelosi. Look how rich these people are, and then look at the constituents in their districts. Look at Oakland, look at San Francisco, and now look at LA, and now it's starting to move out here where I am in Riverside County. It's very troubling, and so trying to wake people up when they're in that deep sleep, it takes a lot of effort, John. But I did real good last year. I got 45% of the vote. I got 60,000 people voted for me. And that's because I got in front of people at Target, at Walmart, Costco. Everywhere I went, I took my campaign material, my business card, and I got in front of people, and I talked to them the same way I'm talking to you right now. And those people voted for me.
Yeah, real people don't got to rehearse. You just got to show up and be you.
That's right.
Yeah, I can tell you're genuine. That's why I didn't want to talk to you before we started this podcast, because I just wanted to genuinely have a conversation with you. You know,
Yes.
did you? So I think what a Democrat was maybe in, say, the JFK days.
Exactly.
Is different than now, because I mean, do you ever think that we would be in a position where we're arguing over tampons in the boys' bathroom, or whether men have menstrual cycles, or whether men or boys should be able to shower in the girls' locker room, or compete in men competing in women's sports? You know, and I think that they overplayed their hand. I mean, this. Look, when I was born in 78, I mean, you've been around a little bit longer than me, but even back in the 80s, I mean, if a boy thought he was a little girl, you know, at 3 years old, because mom let him wear high heels and do this and that, I mean, that was kind of like a mental illness. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
But now we have people that are telling the world that their babies are gay. And like, right. how does a 3-month-old baby is gay? Have they told you?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
We're living in bizarro world right now.
And John, one of the things they have effectively done, um, one of the principles of conservatism is family. What they have effectively done is destroyed the family. Now, it's on the brink of being extinct, but we still have enough citizens in the United States of America that know what family is. Family is not two men. Family is not two women. Family is not one man and two women. Family is not, and I'm talking about marriage, how you have family. That's how you get family. You have two people got to come together, love one another, have children, and then love those children. So in the context of family, that is the microcosm of the United States of a civil society. In that context of family, if that single cell, that family is destroyed, it's like the single cell in your body. Your body's going to be destroyed. They're destroying us from the inside by tearing up our family. That's why they want our children. If they don't have kids getting married anymore, feeling like I can't find anyone to love me, I'm not lovable, or whatever that's going through their minds, and then when they don't have parents, and the number one thing, you need fathers in the home. So they effectively took out the fathers in the home. There's something I talk about, John, and I talk about the black family. And what happened when we were in slavery, the family was still intact. During slavery, they would separate moms and dads, they would separate children and babies, but the family was still strong. Then Reconstruction came along and all the suffering and attacks against the family, but the black family was still strong. Didn't have a lot of money, but they were still strong. The KKK came along, attacked the black family, but the black family was still strong. The black family didn't decline until the Civil Rights Amendment in the 60s. Then they say, okay, women, we're going to give you 1,000, 2,000, whatever it is, but you got to kick the man out the house. So you got a single woman with children and no father. The family, you can trace it back, the family started to decline. The reason we don't have a civil society and we're fighting to have this civil society is because you don't have family. Inside the family, John, is where you have the first teachers of your citizens. So the mom and the dad are the first teachers. They teach their kids to be civil with one another. So they teach your brother, don't hit your sister. Teach your sister, don't hit your brother. They teach them to be civil. They teach them to be industrious. Make up your bed, sweep the floor, vacuum the floor, mop the kitchen, take out the trash, mow the lawn, wash the car. You teach them inside of that family how to be industrious and to go to work. There's a benefit for families. The government is spending all of this money trying to have foster care, trying to take care of kids when kids are supposed to be taken care of inside a family. And I tell people all the time, John, nobody loves your children more than you.
Absolutely. And I'd like to add to what you were saying about the destruction of families and even black families. So are you? I'm not sure if you're familiar with what the agenda was for gangster rap.
No, I'm not sure what you're going to.
Well, gangster rap was actually created by the CIA. And it was created to, and you can see, well, think about it. There was two reasons that they created it. One thing was to push the cocaine, which the deep state was the one bringing the cocaine in. I'm not sure if you're familiar about that. So this is a factual information. Well, the other one was to break up the families. Because what happens when a young boy or a young man's idol is one of these rappers talking about all this degenerate stuff, doing this and that with all these different chicks, total degenerate talk about all these different women and doing all these different things, slinging crack and stealing cars. You know what I mean? And so, that's when you wake up, when that becomes, they know how to social engineer people to idolize things like that. And so anyways, that I just wanted to add to what you were saying earlier. That's a real thing.
Yeah, and you can see it. It's so obvious. Those things are degenerate. They don't promote. I mean, just think about it, man. You're gonna call your women the B word.
Yeah.
You're gonna call your brother the N word.
Yeah. So what
And then
happened?
get mad because somebody of a different background demographic called you the same thing. It's insanity. That's what's going on in our society, and then it breaks out wherever you start this cancer. It doesn't just stay in that community. Now it's in all communities. So the rap music is in every community. It's all on the airwaves. And then it start teaching our women to act a certain way. So, it's crazy. It doesn't just stay with the men. Now the women, they take on that same behavior, and now they just flipped it with the homosexuals. They got the women being more masculine and got the men being more feminine.
Well, feminism was another tool to divide the families up too. So on one end, you have men acting completely derogatory towards women. Look, most of the I know some black women, and they're strong. They're not going to put up with that. If now their husbands are not like that at all, but they would not put up with somebody that treated them the way they talk about people. And then feminism, on the other hand, was another divide and conquer to destroy the family. Because you know what the biggest threat to this agenda, to this communist agenda, this globalist agenda, is a strong family, family that's not in debt. If you're a strong family that's not in debt and you're self-sufficient, woo-wee, that's about that's like a cross to a vampire in a movie. Yes. And if you look at what has happened with TV and movies and the music industry, we're talking about that. Now it's all satanic, and I don't want to keep going to that, but I mean, it doesn't matter what genre it is. And you go to the top, the most popular people, usually they're not really that talented. But somehow everybody's got to have the album, and they prey on young people too. But a lot of grown-ups listen to this stuff too. And you watch the music videos. I've watched some of these music videos, and it's so satanic. And it's
absolutely.
You can't even. It's not like little subtle things.
No, it isn't. It really isn't. And the thing about it, John, it goes against nature. The things that are really bad for us as a human being and as a society, the things that they're propagating, it goes against nature. It's not good for you. One of the things I really observed and understood is that everybody's on drugs, John. Everybody's on drugs, whether it's a illegal drug or a legal drug. You can almost identify, man, a pretty high percentage of Americans that's on drugs for one reason or another. And then they legalize the drugs that are illicit and say it's legal. They close down the churches, and then they open up drug dispensaries and liquor stores. Alcohol is a drug. It's a depressant. We learned that way back in the 70s. So everybody's on some type of drug, whether it's legal or illegal. So there's levels of dependency, whether it's nicotine, whether it's morphine, amphetamine, and then people are just fiends. They got to have it. I can't exist unless I have it. Another thing I talk about is apathy. Apathy, I knew what apathy meant, but I said, let me look at Webster and see what it means. I don't have it in front of me right now this morning. I like to read what Webster, let me see, I do, I found it. Okay, this is the definition of apathy, because we have a lot of apathy in the country, and the reason we're in our position, John, is because we have Christians as a segment of society that are full of apathy. Okay, we have other segments in our society. A lot of them are Republicans. Well, they'll have a good conversation with you. They'll talk to you. They'll agree with you. But then when it comes time to voting, John, they will not vote. We call them low propensity voters. Well, why are you a low propensity voter? Well, you're full of apathy. So I have been fighting apathy for man about working on 3 years now. So this is what Webster says about apathy. Apathy is a feeling of indifference or lack of emotion, often a sign of depression or misuse of alcohol or drugs. Apathy makes people get lazy. They sit around and do nothing but get high. People can't function, therefore, they lose their jobs and they can't work. The common causes of apathy, it can be like a normal an indicator of underlying disease or feeling of excessive, all consuming, and it interferes with your daily living. This is what we have in our society. We have too many good people that just like they check out. And that's what happens when you're on drugs. You just check out. You have that feeling of, man, I just got the munchies. I'm just late. I just want to eat. I want to watch TV. I want to eat, drink, and be merry. I want to be entertained, but they don't want to go to work. You got people who don't want to go to work today. It's just, and it's a lot of apathy. And I've been working on that, John. If we can get Christians, I think we got millions of Christians in this country, and about 40% of Christians, John, don't vote. That's a huge number.
Wow.
About 40% or 40 million Christians do not vote. We got to get that message out there. 40% of Christians don't vote. And then 15% of those aren't even registered to vote. If we can get just the Christian demographic, because the politicians, they always talk about demographics. You talk to these campaign managers, you talk to these consultants, they'll talk to you all day about black demographic, white demographic, Mexican demographic. What we need is Christians to start voting. We need good, because Christians are conservatives. Everything we teach about, everything we preach about, everything we pray about, everything we teach our kids, and everything we say we believe, these Democrats are doing just the opposite. So why are we as Christians still voting for Democrats? It's just ridiculous. So some are voting for Democrat, but then the other 40% aren't voting at all, talking about, well, Jesus is coming back, and all of these excuses they have. The earth belongs to God, the heavens belong to God, the sun, the moon, the stars. Come on, man, you're a Christian. God says, I want the righteous to be in authority. When the righteous are in authority, the people will rejoice. But when the unrighteous are in authority, the people mourn. God is for government. God is the one that instituted marriage. That's government within inside a family and marriage. Then he instituted real government. He took Saul out of government, being the king, and he chose David to be in authority. He told Moses, go to Pharaoh. He told Joseph, the sun, the stars, the moon are going to bow down to you. And Joseph got into the government, saved his nation, his people, saved the surrounding nations from famine, from crisis, and natural disaster. Then he took David, put him in government. Then he said, I want a man that's got a heart like me. We need men that's got the heart of God, that love people. We got to love people, sacrifice for people, do right by people. It's not hard to do right, John. It's not hard to do right. It's not hard to smile. It's harder to frown. It's harder to be a bad person. Man, when you do good, you just feel good. You don't have a problem sleeping. You don't have to look over your shoulder because you haven't stole anything from anybody. And then when you talk to people, man, they light up when they hear you talk. I have people saying, man, I'm going to pray for you that you get in. I have people saying, man, I hope you get in. And then number 3, John, you know what they tell me? They say, man, you know they don't want no real Christian in there.
So when I was heck no, they don't.
They don't want no real Christian.
So I got a 7 and a 13-year-old. I got a late start, and before it, now there was like an empty part of my life. I was never depressed, but there was a little bit of emptiness before I had kids, because it was just, life wasn't full at that point. I'm sure you could relate to that. And you have kids?
We have one.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You know what it's like. I mean, either you know or you don't know. And So anyways, before I had kids, if I was ever feeling a little bit off or depressed, I would take a bunch of food and go and cook it at the park and just give it out to kids at the skate park or homeless people. Didn't matter, whoever it was.
Yes.
And then they'd be like, why do you do this? And I was like, man, you want to know the truth? It makes me feel good. And I even equated it to doing it for my own selfish reasons, because I could go down there with $40, $50 worth of food and I got hundreds of dollars of joy out of it. So
Yes.
to even say I did it just to do the right thing, I don't know if that really was the reason, but I used to, if I was sad or a little bit empty, I would go down there and it would kind of fill me up. And so anyways, it does feel good. And
Yeah, it feels good. It's man, I tell you, those natural, it's like working out, John. Whatever kind of workout you do, you could ride bikes, you could skateboard, you could play volleyball, basketball, baseball, whatever it is that you do, swimming, whatever. Man, you just feel good. It's that natural high that we know exists, those endorphins, man. And when you do good, when you're a good person and do good, you feel good. One thing I taught my son, John, he's 21 years old now. He was a straight A student, calculus 2, physics 2, major in computer science. I always taught him, I say, RJ, when you go to school, take some cookies, take some candy, take some whatever, and just for no reason, just random acts of kindness. Me and my wife, we practiced that. My son loves Subway, so we was in a Subway one time, and I told the cashier, I said, I'm going to pay for that guy's a meal, whatever he's getting. And so I said, well, don't tell him. So me and my wife was headed out the shopping center and got in our car, and we was going out driving out into the street, and he come running outside. And we just kept going. But John, one of the good things is in life, you reap what you sow. If you take a watermelon seed and put it in the ground, you know what you're going to get back? Watermelons. If you take a lemon seed, put it in the ground, you're going to get a lemon tree. You put strawberry seeds in the ground, you're going to get strawberries. You reap what you sow, man. That's the way the world works. That's the way the earth works. If you smile at someone, 9 times out of 10, they're going to smile back at you. If you speak to someone, don't wait for them to speak to you. You speak to them, they will speak back to you. Life is kind of like a mirror. When you look in that mirror, whatever you give that mirror is going to give it back to you. You frown in that mirror, it's going to frown right back. So you reap what you sow, man. And it is, like you said, it is such a great feeling to know that you're doing some good for society, not just for you, but it's going to affect other people. I coach baseball. I coach basketball. I coached basketball at the Moreno Valley Rec. I coached my son's middle school basketball team for 2 years. We was on travel ball teams. We went to Las Vegas, Summer League. We won championships. I coached baseball at the Pony League. And you get those cards from those kids, from those single parents, those moms, and no kids can call you when they get 18 and they say, thank you, coach. I mean, it's just, you get that love back, man. We got to get people that's willing to sacrifice and do something for other people, not for yourself.
Yeah. So you gave me goosebumps when you were talking about, when you were just talking a little bit earlier. And when I was around, I think I was around like maybe 18 or 19, one of my friend's moms, she actually had every book of every religion in the world. She had like, wow, I don't know, 100 something book. Well, every one that known to society or whatever, but she studied all different. She was very spiritual. She believed in Jesus and everything, but she was a seeker of knowledge. And she told me one day, and she had a lot of wisdom, and she told me one day, and she goes, John, every thought has an impact. And I was like, okay. I was like, all right. And I really respected her, but I didn't really fully understand it. Well, one day I would say I was a little bit off that day. First, some days you wake up, you're just a little more, I don't know if you have like some days where you just feel like you're king of the world, and other days you're like, man, why am I kind of dragging today? I mean, I think everybody has that happen.
Everybody.
Yeah. So I was kind of dragging a little bit that day, and I went to this gas station, and a lot of times when you go, I was just getting some fuel, and a lot of times when you go in, someone hates their job, and there's like, not always. Sometimes you meet people with a really nice smile, and they love life no matter what. Well, I went in there and I said, hey, how you doing today? And this girl was working there, and she said, spectacular. And when she said it with so much passion, it resonated through my body, and it automatically just brought me like way up. And I was like, that's what she meant by every thought has an impact. And from then on, I knew it from experience, and it was an amazing thing.
Yes. It was something I used to say. I would get up in the morning when I go outside. I would say, "Good morning, Southern California," and I would just say it for myself, because you're right, man. We have to breathe. We have to take that air in and let it out, and it will cause us to feel our sail. Now, when we feel our sail, we can go somewhere. And that's what we want to do. We don't want to be stagnated. We want to progress. One thing in life, everybody should be productive. We got to get everybody to work. That would be one of my things that I would work on, John. We got to kick people off these roads, taking money that don't deserve money. We're all in this thing together. That's why we call it community. And so we put money in. And so when one man is down on his luck, you help him up. Then it's your turn. You're down on your luck. We pick you up. And so we all help one another. But we have too many people that's taking advantage of the money that taxpayers are giving to society. And so that's the one of the number one things we got to clean up. Donald Trump is doing a yeoman's job. He is doing a great job fighting fraud, waste, and abuse, the corruption that you mentioned before. We got more than enough money in this state, John. I remember in 2023, the number was like $320 billion that taxpayers gave Gavin Newsom and these Democrats in this legislature. They're taking all of your money. And my thing is, as a citizen, if you don't care about anything else, all the issues that we talk about, you don't care about public education, you don't care about public safety, you don't care about the businessman, you don't care about anything. But one thing everybody should care about is your money. They're stealing your money. They're taking your money. You gave them $320 billion with a B, and they haven't given you a receipt, number one. And number two, they haven't given you any change. The way I was taught, if they give me a list when I was a young man, a boy, they say, give you the list, get these items, they give you the money. You go to the store, you get the items, you bring the items back home, you give them the items they told you to get, you give them a receipt, and you give them some change. These government agencies that are being run in California, they're all overspending. And then they don't give you a receipt and they don't give you any change. So they don't even tell you what they spent the money on. It's because they're stealing the money. Just look at San Francisco, look at Oakland, and look at LA.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Ron, just give me all your money, and I'll give you back some of your money as long as I approve of what you're going to spend it on. And collectivism, whether it's socialism, communism, collectivism is mostly all the same. It sounds good. Hey, we all chip in on this thing, and that way nobody suffers. Well, guess what? There is no perfect system, okay? God didn't make this world to where for some reason we're supposed to go through some struggles, and the world just ain't perfect. That just ain't the way it was designed. And I think it's that way on a reason. I don't have to scientifically understand it, but I trust God's plan, and he gave us free will. And for some reason, we're supposed to go through some of these things. So there is no perfect system. Collectivism has never worked ever has collectivism worked, because you give the government the power and the people running it are always corrupt. Now, it may not start out that way, but it's going to end up that way. So my theory is that we would be way better off, which is not a perfect system. I say there isn't one. If we could get the boots of government off of our neck, and we were never supposed to pay over 10% tax, okay? And it wasn't too long ago that one person used to work, another one would stay home. Usually it was the woman, but I'm not saying it's even got to be that way. I'm just saying that, look, somebody could stay home with the kids. You could outright own your house, outright own your vehicle, have a boat, not be in debt, give 10% to the church. You could save 10%. And not be in debt. And now they got us running in a rat race. Both parents got to work, and if they're even together, if they haven't been split up, but and now they got us in this debt slavery. And you give all your money to the government, And then, I mean, no wonder some people want to opt out of society, because some people make more money not working than working. Straight up. And that's a fact. So this is by design. Well, what if they let us keep our money? I think people are good. But like you said way earlier, is that if you can't take care of your own family, you said it in different words, but like, if you can't even take care of your own family, how are you going to help anybody else? You know, you're going to be you have to take care of your family. If you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of your family? So if we were able to keep our money and save money and have extra money, and we weren't always constantly in debt, if we saw somebody, we'd be in positions to be able to help people. We'd be like, hey, cousin James or grandma or my neighbor or my friend I grew up with needs help. Let's help them. And you would be, people are good and they would help. And I think overall there would be a lot less poverty, even if we just completely got rid of welfare and got rid of all the excess, shrunk government and lowered taxes to, I mean, a small consumer tax, in my idea, is probably, I mean, that's a long conversation. I'm not trying to get into all that, but people are good, and we would help people on our own free will.
No, John, you raised some good points, man, and that's why, I tell people all the time, I say, listen, I don't have all the answers, but you know what I tell them, John? I follow that up with, I say, we have all the answers. The answers that we need are in society. It's in all of us as we work. How do you think we progress, how men have progressed to 2025, where we're going to the moon, going to Mars? Look at the technology that we have come up with as human beings. So collectively, we have answers. We have solutions. When it comes to money, one of the chief things you have to do with money in the economy is just get people to work. If a man has a job, they used to tell us, the saying was, don't give a man a fish, teach him how to fish. Those were some basic principles that we had years ago. So if we get more people working, and then they lie so much with numbers. There's a thing called lies, damn lies, and statistics. So the statistics that they give us for people that's not working, that's unemployed, is skewed. It's not even true. They don't even consider all the people that, quote, are discouraged workers, not even looking for a job. So who's paying for that? Society is paying for everything. When we see people on the street and they're not homeless, they're vagrants. I talk to the police. We got to stop calling them homeless. They're vagrants. If we say homeless, then that means, that implies that a home will solve their problem. No, they're vagrants. They're vagrants. So we got to get people back to work, and we know how the doctors know how to get people off of drugs. So dependency, it needs treatment. In the 80s, they did a yeoman's job of getting people off of drugs. You take that 3 months or whatever it takes, get them off drugs. They might relapse, send them back to treatment. And then over time, you can get people off of drugs. We got to get people. California has a problem with a lot of people not working. And then we got wage earners that are leaving the state. So we got the people that are working, leaving, more people that's not working coming. And they come to California because the weather's good. So if they're in the Midwest and the East on the street, man, you'll have some serious problems. But they can come to California, and any month they can live on the street. So we got to get people back to working.
Yeah, and I mean, I can kind of understand why some people opt out of society. It's just it can be a lot. The pressure can add up. I mean, right now with the cost of living, I mean, companies, I mean, like, I don't know if you're aware, but I mean, there's big corporations buying up a lot of the houses. They're buying up the farms that do the food production and everything. And we gotta recognize who our enemies are and who the people are. And they do have names. We're not going to get into all that right here on this one, but I mean, most people I know are struggling right now. They even, no matter how hard they're working, I mean, I got a guy working for me. I pay him pretty good. I wish I could pay him more. He works a second job.
Yes.
You know, I mean, when rent around here up in Redding, California is anywhere from, I'd say you probably couldn't find a house for less than 1,800, and you're all the way up to 3,000. I mean, you could probably go rent some fancy place, but I mean, you could eat from, I'd say 1,500 to 3,000. Now, if you're paying 1,500, you're going to be in a little teeny trailer, like beat down. Like you're not even like when I was a kid, I used to rent a place for 300. When my rent went up, I moved across the street in the neighborhood. And yeah, I got a good deal, but this is back in the 2000s, early 2000s. It was 350, and then when my landlord raised the rent, it went from 350 to 400. But I was paying 400 for a house on a little property, and now to rent that same place, it would probably be $2,000. And people just, and the cost of food and. It's so anyways, I was just saying, I mean, I can understand why some of these people are not participating.
Right. No, exactly. And our number one problem is we got to get people to stop voting for Democrats. The reason we don't have.
Well, they need an incentive.
Yeah, and the reason we don't have balance in California is because it's a super majority of Democrats. So they're just doing everything. It's far left. It is far left. California is a communist state. It's full of socialism, communism, Marxism. And socialism leads to communism because after you sell people on the idea like, man, we're going to share all this stuff. It's going to be a utopia. Oh, man, you're going to have food. You're going to have a car. You're going to have all this stuff. And then free. Everything's free. Man, you have to be out of your mind to think everything is free.
Well, look what happens to societies, even here in the U.S. All the leftist-run cities. I used to love to go to San Francisco. It was great. It's complete. I would never go to San Francisco unless I absolutely had to. So where do people like it's like the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
No, exactly. We used to go to San Francisco and we would love to go to Pier 39. That was a place to go, Pier 39. Now people don't want to go to San Francisco. They have people defecating on the street. They have people urinating on the street. They have people having open sex on the street. I mean, come on, man. Open drug use on the street. I mean, it's just, and these people, Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, all of these people, Dianne Feinstein, they've all come through San Francisco and Oakland area, and now they want to sell this stuff to the American people. I am so excited about the future, John, because we have enough people with common sense in this nation that lady spent over $1 billion trying to sell her Marxist ideas, and the American people did not buy it. All of the swing states, Donald Trump won. Donald Trump is the type of politician or person in government we need, like me. I'm not a Democrat nor Republican like that, a professional politician. I am somebody that cares about society, cares about America. I'm an American patriot. I love America, and I'm going to do what's best for America. Donald Trump is winning people over because he loves America. He's exceeded all of the expectations for Republicans. He well exceeded that. When he came to California, I was there in Coachella. We had over 100,000 patriots there. They're voting for Donald Trump because Donald Trump loves America. That's what we need. Stop voting for people because they got a D or R in front of their name. Vote for people that love America and that will be a servant. Donald Trump is serving America. Look what he did in Iran. Look what he's doing with all of these other nations. He loves America, and that's what we need.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And, so a lot of people I know have moved, and you talked about that. I'm staying here. This is my home. I was born here. I don't think that California, the media is completely controlled. Now, most people, the optics of them is like, California's never gonna, can never go back conservative or never go back to away from communism. Well, quit thinking like that. Like you said, 40% of Christians don't even vote. Guess what? If half of those 40% of people, we're not that far gone, and we are being dominated by socialists and communists. But guess what? They overplayed our hand, and we got to strike while the iron's hot, and we got to go all in right now, because I don't know if we can't take California back now, like in the very, very near future. I don't know what our chances are, because right now they overplayed their hand. People are distancing themselves from, they've seen what the cities have gone to. But I mean, at what point, how long does it take before it just becomes the new normal? Where
you're absolutely right, John. You're right on point. It's this exciting time, because they overplayed their hand. They went too far left, and the American people can see it. We still got some that we're working on, but every day, John, it is exciting when you talk to people. I'm in the district. I'm walking the roads. I'm going to Target. I'm going to Walmart. I'm going to Costco. Everywhere I go, I'm talking to people, and people are coming over. John, I had people that said, I never voted for a Republican in my life, but I voted for you. I got people that's waking up. They say, I'm with you. I got you. And when you start talking about the family and their kids, man, they can see it, and they're starting to wake up. That's how they overplayed their hand, is with these kids. They're starting to wake up, John, and we got to strike while it's hot.
Yeah. So, okay. I want to ask you, okay, I think that a big problem is the leaders of these churches, and I'm not trying to attack churches, but I don't go to a lot of churches, but I listen to a lot of people on the radio, and I listen to what people are saying, and some I really like and say a lot of really good things, but a lot of times they say, hey, don't worry about it. It's all in God's hands. Just pray. It's going to be okay. And you just sit idly by, and you go to church and worship government and pay your taxes. And I listen to this stuff, and I'm like, this is just garbage. Jesus would never approve what some of these people, these leaders are saying. And there's a lot of really good people that are eating that stuff up. And I think we need leaders like you that are going to say, hey, get involved. Go out and vote. God gave us free will for a reason, not because he's going to do it for us. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I believe it's, I want to say a sin to not vote, because guess what, John? It's government. And that's the word we got to get people to. Stop saying politics. And John, that's how, in the beginning, I was telling you, that's how I got here, because I was one of those people. But I did vote, though. That was the only exception with me. I voted. But what was stuck in my brain is politics. We know politics exists because politics makes a man do the wrong thing for the wrong reason. Because he's going to take the bribe. He's going to get the enumeration. He's going to get the house. He's going to get the scoop on the next investment. So that's politics. We got to stop playing politics, and we got to get back to government. Government is the best word, and that's what it's supposed to be. Once again, in the Constitution, you don't see politics, you see government. In the Bible, and this is what we got to get Christians to see, in the Bible, it doesn't talk about politics, it talks about government. And what does it say? It says that the government shall be built on his shoulders. We need righteous men to be in authority. This is in the Bible. It says when the righteous are in authority, when they rule and they're in charge, the people will rejoice. But if we let unrighteous men be in government, be in authority, be in rule, the people are going to mourn. We need more righteous men to get up, shake the dust off their shoes, and get in there and fight for government. It's government, not politics. We know politics exists. We got to stop playing politics, man. And that's one thing I told them, too, because people talk about politics all the time, like, oh, you don't know politics. You don't, like you don't know. I'm like, man, listen, politics, John, is in everything. Politics is in our families. Politics is in businesses. Politics is in the church. Politics is at the job. Politics everywhere. Anytime there's two or more people, There's politics being played, but we don't play politics. So when you go into the house of God and you got that man of faith there, and people come in, they be wanting to play politics with you, but we don't play politics. We need men that know how to engage in government without playing politics. I'm that guy. I know politics exists. I know that you got people want things over here, somebody wants something else, but I'm going to govern and I'm going to do what's best for the district, Assembly District 60, and I'm going to take care of families. We got to take care of families first.
Yeah, no, it's not about playing politics. It's about doing what's right.
Absolutely.
Without
Absolutely.
caring what anybody else thinks. And obviously you represent people and you have to go for the will of the people, but there's always going to be haters and you can't please all the people all the time. And it's about making the right decisions.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Okay. If you got elected, do you know one of the first things that you would do, or do you have some core problems you see that you want to work on, that you want to fix?
Yeah. I want to work with parents' rights. Parents' rights is one of my chief concerns, is parents' rights. We don't want the government trying to step in and raise your children. The government cannot raise your kids like parents. In the context of a family is where children are supposed to be raised. So we have all types of laws that's coming through the assembly that's attacking parental rights. So they call it parental rights. There's all sorts of bills, all sorts of legislation that these people they're perverted. They're in there, and a lot of them don't even have kids themselves because they don't even like women, the men. You know, it's like, come on, man, we letting people that don't even like women and don't even have children make decisions for people that have family and have children. That's insane. That's insane. They don't even love children. They don't love the family and have family like we have family. So we don't want to make decisions, have those people make decisions for us. I will work on anything that deals with parental rights. When it comes to the school, they want to talk to your kid. They want to counsel your kid. Pull your kid to a side and have a counseling session with them. Tell Jimmy he can be Sue, and tell Sue she can be Jimmy. And then they, because of their legislation, do not have to notify you as a parent. Those are the kinds of things I will work against. I will protect families. I will protect children. I will protect moms and dads. That's the first thing I would do. I will work in all kind of legislation that will support our families. The number two thing is law and order. We cannot have a society, John, if somebody can come and steal $950 from your business, and that's just one person. Now we have a flash mob, and the flash mob comes, and they can 200-300 of them, and each one of them can come in and steal $950. Well, we already been attacking that. Some Republicans and some people, Democrats, have had to come to their senses because so many citizens was in an uproar. We're losing business in California by leaps and bounds. Out here where I am, we just lost Rite Aid. I think all the Rite Aids are leaving out of California. Didn't we just lose who was that? Elon Musk left California, and we're going to lose other businesses, and it's going to hurt us tremendously. We got to have law and order. We see Karen Bass, we see Gavin Newsom, and we see all these mayors in different places that's on that left. They're fighting against Donald Trump with law and order. If you break into my house, you can't sit in my house, suck up my air, use my food in my refrigerator, use my TV, and then tell me, oh, well, I'm not breaking any laws. No, you broke the law by breaking into my house. That's the first law you broke. We have federal laws, border laws that need to be enforced. We cannot have a civil society if we let lawbreakers get away with crime. Crime does not pay, and we need to make the penalty so great that it's not just a cost of business. No, we're not going to do that. We gotta have law and order. So I'm a law enforcement candidate. I support the police. I got the Sheriff's Association endorsement last year, and I plan on getting it again. I plan on talking to a lot of the POAs and the unions that's in the police. We need support from the law enforcement community. We need support from the parents. Those are two big groups in society. If we have families intact and we have law enforcement intact, our society would be totally different. They took away law enforcement. They put handcuffs on the law enforcement, and the criminals went wild. Now they want to have what? Social people with a vest on the train and in different places? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, we were living in an inversion of reality, and everything is upside down and backwards. I mean, you could have people go into a store and steal. Look, I've had people break into my business and steal stuff and break into people's vehicles, commit felonies, third felonies. And the cops are like, finally, we got this guy. He's going away. And then the next day I see him out on the street. And I'm like, the cop's like, fine. And it's not the cop's fault. Now, they do a good job of, look, there's good cops and there's bad cops. I am pro law enforcement, but you take groups of people, there's always going to be a bad apple somewhere. The media is going to focus, whether the cop did something wrong, but could you imagine being in law enforcement for 20 years and making one mistake? And then you make one mistake because you're human. And then then they're going to shine a light on this one incident, or it could be a bad cop. There's bad cops too, but they're going to shine a light on that to divide the people against the law enforcement. But then the same people that are anarchists and don't want cops, they're the same. They're the first ones to call the cops too. It's kind of it's kind of funny how that works. They're like, screw the cops, F the cops. And then they're like, I'm calling the cops. And you're like, wait a minute, didn't you just say you don't want cops? You think that the cops should all be just disbanded? So, okay, so people can break in, go into your store. There's nothing that happens. Okay. A friend of mine was in California. Another thing that's really backwards is my friend, he was renting out a house, and I've got multiple stories. I'm just going to say one short one. Well, this lady was in there for about didn't pay rent for around 6-8 months, something like that.
Wow.
And she's like, just basically like, screw you. Okay. Yeah. He went to the house. He started she wasn't there. Right. And he just started putting her stuff out on the sidewalk. All right, I'm going to move you out then. She calls the cops. Cops come and they go, hey, man. They go, we're going to have to arrest you if you don't. And they were on his side. It's not the cops weren't the bad guys. They just said, hey, man, whatever. And I don't know that stuff because I don't rent houses out. But they said, look, man, if she wants to, she could have you arrested right now. Yeah. And so basically, like, either leave or because she's saying, like, if you leave, she's not going to have you arrested. But if she gives me the green light, I have to arrest you and charge you, or you will be charged. And I was like, that is just crazy town. Well, finally, she actually passed away and OD'd, believe it or not. So she wasn't in the house anymore. He ended up renting the house out to someone else. They squatted in the house eventually later on down the road. Well, he rented it out to someone he knew, and then he kind of like passed it on to someone else who ended up being a junkie, and they lived there for like 2.5 years. And he couldn't get him out of the house. 2.5 years. So I guess there's a process you go through, a very long one, and so he basically sold the house at a high discount because somebody else says, hey, we know how to deal with this situation, and he ended up selling the house for like maybe 30% or 40% less than what it was worth, and it wasn't like a big house, but I mean, he sold it for $90,000 when he should have sold it for $150 or something like that.
No, you're absolutely right, John. I have rental property, so there's California, and see, once again, we got to take over the legislature, because where do these laws come from? They come out the legislature, and that's why I'm running for the California State Legislature. It's Assembly District 60, so they refer to it as the Assembly, or it's the legislature. So we got to get conservatives in the legislature. We got to make sure we get these Republican candidates. We got to get money behind them. Every dollar is important. We got to get endorsements behind them. We got to get as much big money as we can behind them, because these guys, they're in total control. So when you take a vote, man, you don't have a chance. You just don't have a chance. It's not enough of you to do anything. So we got to get more conservatives in that legislature. We got to fight for it. We won 2 seats in Riverside County. Out of the 6 seats, 5 of them are Republican. My seat was the only one that wasn't won over by the Republican, even though I got 45% of the vote, 60,000 people that voted for me. Now, we do have cheating, amount of cheating. So until something comes out where we can combat the cheating too, but never get bogged down in talking about the cheating, Dominion machines, and all of the other things surrounding election integrity. We have to fight it. But if we vote, we can surpass the amount of cheating that they're doing. Donald Trump came up with a nice slogan. He said, make it too big to rig. So his slogan was too big to rig.
Yeah,
and if we vote, if we get enough people voting, that Christian bloc, we got conservatives. We just got to get them voting for the conservative candidate. We got to get these Christians, these churches. We got to do some yeoman's work in churches. And I'll give you an example. I've been visiting churches. And so I went to this one church, and me and my wife visited them. After the service, we ended up talking to the pastor. And while we was talking to the pastor, one of his associates started asking me some questions because I took my campaign material everywhere I go. And so I began to talk to him about my assembly district race in Assembly District 60. And so he said, "Oh, I know your opponent." And so I began to talk to him. I said, "Well, do you know this? Do you know he say he a Christian, but he's homosexual? He's gay, fighting for gay rights?" He didn't know that. When I finished talking to him about other things, about my campaign, about my opponent, he said, "Man," he said, "I voted for this guy last time." He said, "But I'm voting for you next time." Those are powerful stories when you can go in there, you can talk to people, you have influence, and you can convince someone that voted against you to vote for you. And that's the power of being the type of candidate I am. It's a combination of characteristics that I have, John, that cause me to exceed other Republicans that think they could get in a race and do what I do. Because I am a parent, because I am a preacher, a man of God, and because I am a patriot, that combination of things makes me, I'm a different type of Republican candidate. When I talk to people, man, they say, "Man, I'm going to pray for you." They say, "Man, I'm going to pray that you get in there." And then they say, "Man, you know they don't want no real Christian in there." Because when you talk to people, John, it's better than a flyer. It's better than a billboard. It's better than spending all that money on all that stuff. You still need to spend money on those things. Don't get me wrong. But when you stand in front of a person at their door, when you stand up in front of a person in that district, and they get to look you eyeball to eyeball, they can hear you talk, and they can feel the spirit that's in you, man, that's better than a picture. A live person is better than a picture.
Oh, absolutely. And
yeah, it's powerful.
The truth is so much more powerful than propaganda and fakeness. And if you look at how much money goes towards propping up these people, that nobody would like these people. They're unlikable. I mean, if they met him in person, they're not going to come knock on your door and meet you. And now I'm not saying specifically, but you're talking about the Pelosi's and the AOC's and the Feinsteins and people like that. I mean, I seriously doubt you would want to hang out with any of these people. I don't think they're, but there's a lot of money that goes behind these politicians. I mean, they have to spend, like, say, to prop up the propaganda, these news agencies. I mean, they spend, like, say, Bill Gates, or whether it's, these politicians that if the media was reporting the real information, you would see them for who they are. But what they do is they spend a lot hundreds of millions, tens of millions of dollars for propaganda, and then they spend the same amount of money character assassinating people that are trying to make a change. So
Absolutely.
the optics, they're really good at, but you can break through that matrix when you meet people in person, because it doesn't matter if someone look, I've been character assassinated. They wrote about me in the LA Times and stuff like that, look. So here's the thing. I was at January 6th in Washington, D.C. I was there. I drove there. And I had my arm around a black guy, and we were doing the OK symbol as a joke, because they were saying, oh, if you did the OK symbol, you're a racist, right?
Oh, wow.
So, okay, I don't see, a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? Well, they've
Right.
taken everything and said it's racist or it's sexist or it's whatever, just they've hijacked everything. They hijacked the rainbow. I want to take the rainbow back, by the way. But anyways,
Absolutely.
I love rainbows. And so they crop the black guy out of the picture, right? And they say, here's John throwing the white pride symbol. John's a white supremacist, all this stuff. In the LA Times, the Young Turks talked about it. The freaking all over, they tried to smear me as a racist. Well, I like actually know like way diverse group of people. I mean, I could act like I'm like, the people accusing me don't even know all the different Asian communities here. You know what I'm saying? We got a decent amount of African Americans, black people here in the community. I know a lot of them. I grew up with them. I can name them by names. I'm friends with them. I still see them around. I still, I play basketball too. We play basketball together. We play music together. Look, and I know all the different, the long story short, I'm not going to prove myself to you because I think
Sure.
but they cropped the black guy out, and then they showed me, in the local news here, probably at least a dozen times, here's John throwing the white pride symbol. Here's John with my arm around a black guy. And they cropped the black guy out. It's insane. Then so I'd have people come up to me and they go, hey man, you don't seem like such a bad guy, but you go around throwing the white pride symbol and stuff all over the place. And I'm like, dude, let me show you the real picture. And I show them the real picture, and then they talk to me for 5 minutes and they go, that's crazy, man. I thought you were a racist.
Yeah, it's
But
crazy.
I could break all the effort they put into character assassinate me. When I meet them in person and they get to see who I am and look me in the eyes, they know absolutely that is propaganda.
No, exactly. That's what we do. We have to do the work, John. That's why running for office, it's not an easy feat or undertaking. You have to do the hard work. And I'm the guy that does the hard work. I'm out in the community every single day, going places, talking to people. I was just in the Moreno Valley 4th of July parade. We had two classic cars. I rode in a convertible, a Ford T-Bird. It was nice. I had two kids with me riding in the parade. I had a second classic car. It was a 1972 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu. Nice. When he cranked that, stepped on that accelerator, I mean, just it made noise. It was nice. I had about 26, 27 volunteers out there working the parade. We had, I think, about 4 easy ups. We had games for the kids. We engage with the community. There's a lot of patriots out there. People working, moms and dads, blue collar workers, soccer moms, just regular people. And so we engage with the community. I have banners out there letting them know who I am in the community. So I'm working this community, John. I need all the help I can get on social media. Anybody that's able to help me with website. Working on websites. Anybody that can help me with doing videos, short videos that we can put out there, develop and put out there. Any kind of help where patriots say, you know what, I want to help this guy. Because that's how we have to do it. Just like the Revolution War with our founding fathers, we need people to, preachers, men of God, people of God, take off their black robes and have that black robe regiment. We need regular people helping, rolling up their sleeves, and that's how we're going to get the work done. They have more money than us, but they don't have more patriots. people that love this country. It's more of us that love this country. They have more money. And so how Donald Trump did it is how we're going to have to do it. He's showing us the way to get it done. If the Republican Party follows Donald Trump, then we're on the right track of turning this country around. He got all those swing states. They're red. The people really are red. Even in California, John, do you know there's more registered Republicans in California than any other state in the union?
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's more registered. You got to think, remember Ronald Reagan and keep going back. Though California was a beautiful state because it's run like a business, man. You can't just give things away. Free stuff, free. That sounds so good. Everything's free. You got to run it like a business, man. I got 23 years small business ownership. You gotta run it like a business. Be a good businessman. Make good business decisions. They're giving all of our money away.
There's a reason they tell you don't feed the deer.
Exactly.
Because you start feeding them, and then they don't want to forage anymore. They don't want to do what their instinct was. They just get lazy, and then they become beggars.
That's right. And that's what we're up against. Look at the sanctuary city problems we're having now. Sanctuary cities? Are you kidding me? They're giving them free stuff. They're giving them free Medi-Cal, free Social Security, disability. They're getting everything, man. Unemployment. They're getting all of the things that the citizens have put money into. And I tell people all the time, John, politicians don't have any money. They have your money.
Yeah, I know. So how do people find you on, do you have any social media, and do you have a website, or you need to get a website built?
Yes, I have a website, but I need help with it. If someone can give me some help. My website, I think you guys have the information.
Oh, okay. Here, I got it right here. It looks like if you're listening and you can't see it, because we do have some people that listen here, Ron, and don't watch it, but it looks like Ronald Edwards for assembly.com. So that's Ronald Edwards for assembly.com, and it's spelled just how it sounds. And we'll put a link in the description or the headline or wherever. We're going to make it real easy for anybody watching this to be able to click on that. And are you on any social media at all, or just the website? Yes,
I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on X. And you can reach me at Ron, R-O-N, Edwards, 4, Assembly, 60.
Ron
60.
Ron Edwards for Assembly
60.
Okay. That's great. Yeah, I mean, hopefully you're making the sacrifice. Hopefully we can get some people to, and here's the thing, different people can help in so many different ways. And that's the great thing is, look, we have the power. We, the people, have the power. Now I've said this a lot of times, and I'm sure people have heard me say it if you're a regular listener, but I say, this is how much power we have. Okay. Think about how much effort goes into the Super Bowl weekend. Okay. Now, I'm not saying I'm anti-football. I love sports. I personally don't have a TV. I don't really watch sports. I do have a computer. Sometimes with my son, we'll look up like different drills for basketball or something like that. I'm not against sports, but what I'm saying is that the amount of effort, how many people watch the Super Bowl every year, and how much effort do they put into throwing a Super Bowl party? How much money is spent? Now take that. Okay, one weekend out of the year, say you spent the same amount of effort and money on building someone's house that burnt down or whatever, just in your doing something in your community. Think about how much power that's just one weekend out of the year. If people took all that effort and money they did to support someone like you, or like I said, build someone's house that burnt down, or maybe build a park for kids to play at, or you know what I'm saying? That we have all of the power. We just have to get engaged.
No, you're absolutely right. One thing
hold on real quick though. My point is you should be, look, you're stepping up. We need some people to step up that have different skill sets in different ways. Some people could give money. Some people can help you with your website, or some people could help you with social media. Some people could help you with other things in your campaign. Some people could help organize events. You know, there's a lot of different ways that people can get involved. And go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you. I just want to finish that thought before I forgot.
No, I thought you were finished, and I was going to say you're absolutely right, because you need help. Once again, it's not one person, it's all of us, and it's all of us that make one. It's amazing how the math works. It's one, but it's not just one. It's all of us. That's a lot of people, millions of people. But those millions of people, if they become one, they're powerful. So that is one. And I like to read this to people. It's called The Power of One. And you teach kids this. One song can spark a moment. One flower can wake the dream. One tree can start a forest. One bird can herald spring. One smile begins a friendship. One hand clasp lifts a soul. One star can guide a ship at sea. One word can frame the goal. One vote can change a nation. One sunbeam lights a room. One candle wipes out darkness. One laugh will conquer gloom. One step must start each journey. One word must start each prayer. One hope will raise our spirits. One touch can show you care. One voice can speak with wisdom. One heart can know what's true. One life can make the difference. You see, it's up to you. That's powerful, John.
Who wrote that? Who wrote that?
I forget the person that wrote that.
That is beautiful and powerful.
It lets people know, yeah, we need a lot, but we need one. It's always one. Never overlook the power of one. And so when we talk about the power of one, we're talking about you.
Yeah, well, they've done such a good job at dividing and conquering us and fighting over the stupidest things. It's insane. When we the people, and I mean everybody, I don't care whether you're anarchist, a Democrat, most people are good and would agree on 85 to 90% of things. And we might disagree. How do we get there? But so I'm going to share a short story. I'm going to make this really fast. Well, they tried to shut the frontage road in front of my business and in front of like a whole neighborhood and multiple businesses. They just decided that they were going to, we're going to shut this intersection down. So where all the businesses and people with houses are going to have to drive like way out of the way to get to where they want to go. And everybody was up. They're used to just doing what they want. And it was a Caltrans project. So they had an open house. I went down there. They go, well, it's mixed reviews. I took a vote. Every single person in there except for one, about 30-1 voted they didn't want it to, because they didn't let anybody speak. So I kind of took over the meeting for a second and says, hey, I want to call for a vote. Everybody was against it. I had an ally. The guy actually wore a skirt. It was a man. I didn't care. My point, he wore pantyhose and a skirt. I have no idea. He wasn't a pervert. He wasn't weird. Regular guy. I mean, I don't know what his preferences were. This didn't matter. We had all walks of life came, and I never have actually seen this in where nobody cared about politics. Nobody cared about whether you went to church or didn't, what you believed in. The community came together and rebelled against it. And I thought that they were just going to do whatever they wanted anyways. Well, this guy's name was Stuart, who came in my business. He started a website. Me and him were working hand in hand, texting each other and sending each other stuff. And he started a website, and we got the whole community together to push back against this project. And they didn't end up shutting it down. They ended up, I couldn't believe it. They said, hey, look, we're going to talk about it another 7 or 8 years. We'll revisit this conversation. And it's a longer story than that. But the point of it is the whole community unified together. We broke the matrix of the divide and conquer, and we accomplished the goal together. And it was just amazing.
No, that's awesome story. And those are the stories that every person needs to hear, because the power of one person, you think you're insignificant, but sometimes one vote, Sometimes it's 85 votes Republicans are winning by. Sometimes it's 600 votes. And you think your vote doesn't count, your vote does count. You are powerful in this whole process that we're in. We need every single person to vote.
And we need people out there spreading the word and educating people and motivating people. We've seen elections lost here in Shasta County by 3 votes, 8 votes in districts, and that's not obviously this isn't a statewide or even countywide necessarily in certain districts, but we're talking, let me think, around maybe 4,000, 5,000 votes on each side and losing by 3, 5, 8, 11. And think about if one person could have went out and just talked to a few of their neighbors and said, hey, man, I know you're really busy, but you should really go down and vote because it could make a difference. And the reality is that everybody needs to be out there spreading the word, motivating these the people that are not voting. Okay, we need to get them to vote. We win if we can motivate these people to win, but we got to let people know that we can win, because I think a lot of people are hopeless, and they think, oh, it doesn't matter because it's so far gone. I mean, the pendulum is swinging back the other way right now, really, really fast, and I think our time is now to shine. And it's going to take everybody to push really hard. But look, the little things you could do is share this podcast right here. Share it with a friend, especially if you're down in District 60, if you're in Riverside area or somebody there. I mean, share it with them. Get this information out there. Get involved. Donate your time, even if it's one day a month. 1 hour a week, whatever you can do. $10 a month, $1. If 50,000 people donated $1, how much would that help?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Everybody buys a coffee. They're fine going and spending $5 on a coffee. Spend $5 a month.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's the power. That's the power of one person. Everybody's $10. Everybody give $10. Everybody give $5. Like you said, 50,000 people, everybody give $1. That's $50,000. That's how quick it can happen and how we can change our state back to the beautiful state. Man, we live in such a beautiful state, John. That's why people stay here. That's why people come here. It is the most beautiful state in the whole nation. California is worth fighting for. And that's why I'm fighting for California. I'm fighting for families. I'm fighting for the citizens. I'm fighting for the little guy. I'm fighting for the blue collar worker. I'm fighting for the soccer mom. I'm fighting for that little kid that wants to go to school and don't want to be bullied. We have a lot of kids that's in certain communities. They would get A's and B's, but they're getting bullied by the other kids that's putting them down because they're getting B's and A's. That has been going on for years in the black community. So they're getting bullied. Your kids shouldn't have to go to school and get bullied because they're standing up for traditional American and Christian principles. But this is what's going on in our society.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, check this out. You know what I'm going to do for you? Because I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. I'm gonna send you a microphone so you could get your audio game up, and I'm gonna send you a camera that you can hook up and have high quality. And I'm gonna set you up and give you what you need to be able to produce high quality videos, like you were talking to me about beforehand. And that's something that I'm gonna do for you, because I believe in you.
Absolutely. I really appreciate the help, John. I want to tell the people before we close, I come from a hardworking family that has labored in public service for as long as I can remember, and I want to work for you. My goal is simple and makes common sense. Create a safe and secure society, build strong families, improve our schools, and give parents, teachers, and students more choices. Public safety will be a top priority of mine. Being a veteran with decades of federal government experience, community service, leadership, and small business ownership, I have what it takes to find solutions and get things done.
most importantly for me, I want to know what someone's integrity is, what they stand for, what their values are. And I think we accomplished that today. And I think you're doing a great job. I want to take the time to thank the sponsors that help keep our lights on and our partnership with 22 Salute Coffee. They have absolutely amazing coffee. Their bourbon is absolutely the best bourbon I've ever had. It helps keep the lights on here. If you go to Mountaintop Media and purchase, you save 10%, and the rest of the money goes towards helping first responders and veteran suicide prevention. So you're supporting a good cause, you're getting a good product, and you're helping us keep the lights on here, which we have no outside funding, no government funding, no NGO funding. So it really helps us. Jefferson State Diesel, absolutely the best place to take your diesel in. If you have a vehicle with a diesel, they're absolutely the best. Both owners are on site. They support the community. They always are supporting patriots. And there's absolutely nowhere else I would go to take my truck to get worked on and trust them to do a good job and never scam somebody. And they help us keep the lights on here. They're our number one first sponsor that really stepped up to the plate. I also want to take the time to give a shout out to Taylor Motors. They are an amazing family. If I was going to go and buy a new vehicle, absolutely, I would go nowhere else other than Taylor Motors. And they also sell used vehicles. So, and if you buy that, it's new to you. And they are actually, they're a top tier sponsor. They really stepped up to the plate. They're always going to fundraisers to support the right people. They're huge supporters of the right people in the community. And they have a lot of integrity, and the family's great. Also, Taylor Collision Center. Hopefully I don't get any accidents, or somebody just actually swiped my wife's vehicle the other day in the parking lot, and they just drove off. And it was a little ding. So I don't know if we're going to take that in, but hopefully nobody bangs my truck up or her vehicle to where we have to take it in there. But if I did, I would absolutely take it to Taylor Collision Center. They have a lot of integrity, very good, honest people. And there's nowhere else I would take my vehicle. Thank you for watching, and support the other people in the community that support us.